Thank you very much for joining us on the morning call. Now, outrage and continental-wide condemnation has followed the latest wave of xenophobic attacks recorded in Johannesburg and other parts of South Africa. At least 5 persons are said to have been killed in the fresh violence, while several shops were looted by mobs and vehicles driven by foreign nationals torched. The African Union AU, in a statement, described the act as despicable, saying it condemned them in the strongest terms. Now, there have been strong reactions from presidents, celebrities and ordinary citizens across the continent. And of note is from South Africa and Nigeria. South Africans and Nigerians using social media to call each other out in what has been a very bitter exchange. We'll be discussing more on this shortly when we bring in our guest from Dakar. But first, let's take a look at this report which shows some foreigners counting their losses after the scourge of violence in some parts of Johannesburg and Pretoria.
As a sad one about President Cyril Ramaphosa on Tuesday strongly and strictly condemned this violence in South Africa. In a video posted on Twitter, the president said that there is no justification for a South African to attack nationals of other countries. Following this, an emergency ministerial meeting was also convened.
Sud-africains s'en prennent à des ressortissants d'autres pays. Il a par ailleurs convoqué une réunion ministérielle d'urgence.
Hassan Dioma Ndiaye is from the Senegalese League for Human Rights. Hassan joins us from Dakar this morning. Hassan, a warm welcome to you. Thank you for joining us. What an unfortunate situation and perhaps a very embarrassing one it must be for Africans, seeing some South Africans attacking fellow Africans. 5 dead, several wounded, businesses looted. As a defender of human rights, what do you make of the current situation?
It is with deep sadness to see that South Africa is unable to free itself from its, in quote, demons. These are recurrences that gives Africa no credit, and that comes mainly from a country that represents the colors of Africa. South Africa has always been a focal point for Africans, first through its achievements in the past and then as a kind of hope for a better world for Africa. South Africa has overcome its dramatic history with apartheid and was thought to have at least continental leadership in terms of passage of cultures, the values of fraternity, solidarity, and even economically, as Nigeria.
Au moins constituer une sorte de leadership tant du point de vue du brassage des cultures, des valeurs de fraternité, de solidarité, et même sur le plan économique à l'instar du Nigeria. Mais là, on constate que l'Afrique du Sud,
but today we see that South Africa obviously constitutes what we can describe as absolute lack of tolerance in the country. And that is unfortunate for us and for the African youth.
Certains analystes, les autorités sud-africaines n'en feraient
some analysts believe that South African authorities have done little to nothing in terms of preventing this xenophobic violence. What do you think?
Oui, je pense qu'il y a une responsabilité étatique.
Yes, I think same too. I think that nothing is being done at the state level, at the political level, to explain to at least South Africans that the increase in unemployment or at least poverty in some parts of South Africa is not due to immigration.
L'immigration, elle est universelle, elle relève de l'histoire de la préhistoire.
Immigration is universal. It is part of a prehistoric history of the country. It is true that the political authority should have played an important role in this awareness in order to make the citizens of South Africa understand that beyond South Africa, even elsewhere, including America, France, and Brazil, all these countries have made history through immigration. So the fact remains that South Africa must make efforts to improve the distribution of wealth. But under no circumstances can the presence of immigrants obviously justify this wave of xenophobia and hatred towards other Africans.
In Nigeria, human rights groups called for a boycott of South African South African companies, including telecom giants MTN, ShopRite, and MultiChoice, and the likes. And in fact, there were incidents of some Nigerians looting some of South African-owned shops in Lagos in what was apparently a reprisal attack. Is there a cause to fear a conflagration of this current situation?
Je pense que ce serait dommage qu'on tende vers des...
I think it would be a pity if we move towards retaliation as a way out, particularly in Nigeria.
Je ne crois pas qu'il faille généraliser.
I don't think we should generalize. Not all South Africans behave this way. There is a part of the population that commits these blunders of xenophobia. But I do not think that it is good for a country like Nigeria to adopt retaliatory measures. This could likely make the situation rather worse.
Une dernière question, Hassan Diomandiaye. Pensez-vous, comme bon nombre d'observateurs, que
how about the observations people have made that the African Union has done little to nothing in terms of tackling xenophobia and violence in Africa?
Africains en Libye, par exemple.
Oui, bien entendu. Ce qui a justifié la naissance de l'Union africaine, c'était justement de sortir de cette
Of course, what justified the birth of the African Union was precisely to get out of this kind of lethargy. We thought that with the African Union, we would have interventions, operational mechanisms that would be specific, that will be up to the challenges facing Africa. But as you pointed out in relation to crises such as the one in Libya, we did not feel the weight of Africa, which could only be expressed through an organization such as the African Union. I think that it's important that this organization becomes more proactive, at least to monitor and take measures in times that are necessary, not after. When a crisis of this nature occurs, it is important that at least the African Union Commission, the African Union, be able to convene the African Union Security Council quickly.
Et lancer des messages de calme, des messages qui puissent ramener...
We are bodies that can at least initially give an alert and send out messages of calm. And so we should see more of that.
L'Union africaine